October 19th through the 21st, we have the Great Mississippi River Balloon Race here in Natchez, Mississippi. We'll have thousands of people.
The balloon race got started in 1986. It was a very small affair, but most people in Natchez were thrilled. They had never seen a hot air balloon, and it was a great success from the very beginning. But it has grown tremendously since that inauspicious beginning in 1986. Today is probably the largest special event in southwest Mississippi. It's unique in being located on the site of a great historic mansion overlooking the Mississippi River. Most balloon events are in fields or airports or big arenas. Ours is right in downtown Natchez with that great historic backdrop, the Mansion Rosalie. Today we have as many as 30,000 people in a single weekend, weather permitting. And when we first started, we have 5 balloons. We've had as many as 80. Probably this year we'll have about 65. That seems to be the most manageable number for us as the site has grown and we have more and more people.
It's the Mississippi River. It's our history, it's our culture, it's our people, it's our hospitality. There's so much that's special about Natchez.
Natchez was originally founded, it's one of the oldest cities on the Mississippi River, founded in 1716 by the French, and has been continually occupied ever since. So it has a great history, and we're going to be looking for the tricentennial of Natchez here soon. Natchez is best known for its antebellum history and housing the most millionaires per capita in the United States prior to the Civil War. This was kind of the cosmopolitan area for these guys. Obviously, their plantations were spread out in more rural areas, but whenever they wanted kind of the taste of the city, they came here to Natchez.
And how much of that history is preserved today?
Well, they say that Natchez is the most intact antebellum town in the United States, and certainly it's hard to rival whenever it comes to the building stock that still remains here and the fact that it's in its original condition for the most part.
What do you enjoy the most about the history of Natchez?
Well, just the fact that it is all still here. The fact that you can come and see the town of Natchez as it looked prior to the Civil War and shortly thereafter, and visit all the great mansions and get into some of these private homes even through pilgrimage and other events like that gives you a glimpse into the history and architecture of Natchez that you can't see anywhere else.
If people want to come and see something in addition to the balloons, what else does Natchez have to offer?
Oh, we have a lot to offer. We have, of course, our beautiful homes that are on tour year-round. We have our beautiful downtown. There's lots of things going on during balloon race in downtown Natchez. Our wonderful restaurants. We have carriage rides. We also have going on at the Natchez Convention Center this year a gym and jewelry show during the balloon race. When you come to Natchez, you have to understand that we're the oldest settlement on the Mississippi River, and we're even older than New Orleans. Natchez dates back to 1716, and the ambience of the river and walking around in our walkable downtown, and you feel safe, and you get to enjoy the architecture, the history. We have our Natchez Trails project that's just been completed, and it's like a museum of streets. I mean, you can walk and stop and view all these panels that tell you the rich history of our area.
Well, back in the early days of the Natchez Balloon Festival, I started volunteering search and rescue type services when the balloons would go down in the middle of nowhere. I would get some buddies of mine and we'd go get them out just as a volunteer group of people. And then I said, well, I'd like to have one of those, and I was already flying fixed wing airplanes, so I went and got my balloon license and bought a balloon and started flying them.
What's involved in someone becoming a balloonist?
It's controlled by the FAA. You have to have a license. You have to take a written test. You have to take a verbal test. You have to take a flight test. 15 hours minimum will usually get you solo in a balloon. And you don't have to have a medical certification, but you do have to pass an oral and a written, and then a flight test.
Take us through the steps of setting up a balloon and then actually launching.
Well, the first thing we do, we drive up. We usually pick our location before we ever get there, simply by putting up a small helium balloon. We take a compass, take a bearing on it, see which way the wind's going. Then we take off in the direction that the balloon travels, and that way we know that we're going to, go somewhere. We're not going to go in a swamp or a river. We'll go on a farm or fields or somewhere we can land. It's not very technical at all.
Tell us a little bit about the balloon itself. What's it made out of? How large is it? And,
The basket is made out of wicker, woven wicker, and it has a very small steel frame woven into the wicker. And your balloon itself is made out of what they call rip stop nylon, so it won't just keep tearing. It'll reach a point where it'll stop once it starts tearing. I have torn them, usually hitting a tree or something sharp, they'll rip. And you get it out of your trailer, your basket, or however you have it packed up, and you lay it on the ground, and you pull your envelope out, and mine is almost 100 feet tall. And you lay it out, and then you inflate it with cold air. We call that cold air inflation. Use a big old fan with an 8 horsepower motor on it. And once it is inflated, then you have to get the balloon really inflated, like almost blown up to the point, and it's laying on its side. Then you put the hot air in it with your burner, and then you get your lift, the balloon stands up, and then you check everything and you take off.
what's involved in actually getting the balloon off the ground?
Just heat. Like my balloon, my basket weighs probably 450 pounds, balloon and envelope, and if I have 2 passengers in it, at probably 190 degrees temperature in the envelope, I'm at what you call equilibrium. I'm just about 1 inch off the ground, and then just keep putting heat in it. And the more heat you put, then all of a sudden it'll just start taking off. And then once you get up in the air, you just quit heating it up and it'll come back down. Or if you want to get down fast, we have a rope that's tied to what you call the envelope. Well, it's a parachute in the top, self-sealing, and you can pull on it and vent, and it'll let a lot of the air out. And then you start, screaming to earth. Then you can close it back up and put more heat in it, and it'll stop it.
Once you're up in the air, how much control do you have over the balloon?
Well, believe it or not, depending on where you are, but usually every 200 or 300 feet, the wind varies just a little bit. And I mean, last year I raced here in Natchez, and we came into the target at 10 feet off the ground, the wind, say, was blowing out of the north. And at 50 feet, the wind was blowing out of the south. So you could actually make a box. You could go up, go backwards, go down, go forward, and just make circles in the same spot you were in. Or you could pop up a little bit farther and get a left or a right and then come back down and repeat the same thing. But normally, as you get up, in the 1,000-foot range, your wind every 500 feet will be a little bit different. And by watching the little helium balloon I told you about, you watch that real closely and you can see the balloon will go up, and then all of a sudden it'll start going north, and then it'll go another 500 feet, and then it'll go south, or it may go east or west, and you get an idea of the steerage up there. So as you're flying, you kind of just keep going up and down and steering yourself through those currents to go where you want to go. And it doesn't always work like that. I have seen the winds change and go the exact opposite direction. There's nothing you can do.
How much control do you actually have of a balloon once you get up in the air?
Well, you have to fish around for your currents. You have to look for your wind, and that's the only control you got. And I have seen days where we'd go straight up 3,000 feet and you'd never move, and you take off and you go up and you come right back down where you took off from. I've actually been caught on the Mississippi River before and had to be pulled off the river by boaters before I ran out of fuel. I mean, it was just one of those panic situations. Luckily there was a boat out there, and they all want to come see you when you get down low, and I hollered at him and threw him a line, and he pulled me off the river.
When you're up in the air, when you take a look at the ground, how much control do you have of actually landing the balloon?
Well, you have a lot of control, because that's where your training and your touch comes in. You just, instead of letting it cool off so fast that you come down at a high rate of speed, say 500-600 feet a minute, you just keep burning, give a little bit, and you've got we actually have an instrument in the basket. It's a rated descent instrument. It tells us how fast you're going up and down. If you're not a good judge and you don't have a visual reference point like a tree to see if you're going up or down, you can look at that instrument and keep from, breaking your legs, because you can come down too hard. So, yeah, you can come down, just as light as you can. Now, on a high wind day, when I say high wind, 10 miles an hour or more, it's a total different deal, because you can't come down lightly. When you come down, you're going 10 miles an hour, so you have to, just before you hit the ground, you have to dump all the heat out of your envelope by pulling your vent, and then you just get down in the basket and hold on, and then all of a sudden the wind will start dragging you sideways, and if you're in a cow field, you'll start filling your basket up with cow patties or ants or whatever, or if you're in some trees, you can tear your balloon up.
Now, in order to launch the balloons, it's usually done early in the morning. Tell us why, and what are the factors to determine whether the balloons can go up early in the morning?
Okay, as most people notice, at nighttime the wind dies. It lays down because of the heating of the earth. So in the mornings, as the sun comes up, that's what starts your wind. Now, a good cloudy morning usually means you're going to have a pretty nice flight because the sun can't get to the atmosphere and warm it up as fast. So that's why we fly early morning and early evenings, because the middle of the day is just dangerous. I have flown in the middle of the day. You can go on different websites and actually see the winds aloft, and you can fly, but it's not recommended.
Tell us a little bit about the Natchez Balloon Race and what's involved with the weekend in Natchez.
Okay, the Natchez Balloon Race is an event that takes place yearly, and usually third week in October. We usually have 60 balloons, 60 sponsors. If you're a sponsor, you get a ride, and it's the monies that we raise is donated for different charities around town. That's what we do with our money. It's also a musical festival for the weekend, and it's the largest event in the city of Natchez.
How has the balloon race grown over the years?
Well, back in the old days, it used to start out with 5 or 6 balloons. It got up to about 10. And then as it got more organized, it'd get 20. And I believe the largest year we had 75 balloons, which is a lot of balloons, especially when our flying area is not that great in that we have a lot of hills, a lot of swamps, we got the river. So you have to be on your toes and be real careful. And usually as soon as I hit the ground, I get out and I start looking for all the people that get lost.
What's the advantage of having a balloon race so close to the river?
Well, first of all, the river makes a bunch of S-turns. So if you get the track of the river, a lot of your landing spots are inaccessible. So we try to plan our flights where we cross the river, fly over Natchez, over the festival site and all the people, and land on either side of the river. But there's no advantage of being on this river at all.
What do you enjoy the most about participating in a balloon race?
Well, I just like flying. I love to fly balloons, and the crowds are great, and it's just fun to fly. We're not a big money race here. Our money's $5,000 total prize money. First place you may win $2,500. You know, other places you win, first place you win $10,000, or you'll have a key grab for $25,000. But we don't have a lot of money for that, but most of our pilots seem to enjoy flying in Natchez, hospitality, and we also have the most repeat balloonists every year that love to come to Natchez, and their same sponsors stay with them year after year.
How far do the balloonists come for the race?
We have guys, one guy comes from Colorado, we have people from Michigan, people from Florida, Texas. We have that's about California as far as one we have.
How has the sport of ballooning grown over the years?
Well, as the sporting of ballooning, it got more scientific, I should say, with new materials in different types of burners and baskets and riggings. It got better and safer, and the more people started flying, the more they learned by their past mistakes.
What would you say to encourage people to make a long drive, maybe from Shreveport or New Orleans or Oxford, throughout the two-state area? Why should people come to this?
Well, if you like ballooning, it's beautiful and it's fun to see, and we actually allow the general public to come out and touch our balloons and be hands-on, and if they want to follow us around, they can follow us around. But a lot of events you go to, like for the nighttime glows, they make the people stay back. But here we don't discourage that at all. You can come up, and I put children in my balloon all the time, and a lot of times I'll actually land, and then when we let the crowds come up to us, I'll sit there and put the kids in and out of my balloon. It's a family-oriented event. The race is.
hard to explain why people should come out other than the beauty of the balloons. When they come out on this field tonight and Saturday night, you're going to see just an incredible display of beauty and fire and the whole idea of the balloons, and the kids just go crazy over this stuff.
I've been flying balloons for about 18, 19 years. I started in the mid-90s, and from the first moment that my feet left the ground in a balloon, just by chance as a crew person that day, I decided that that's it. I have to be a pilot. I have to do that a lot more, and I do.
Tell us about the experience of balloon flying on the ground as well as in the air.
Well, on the ground, sometimes setting up the balloon is, on my crew, it's usually slow and leisurely, although we can get a balloon in the air in less than 5 minutes. We generally be real relaxed when we're setting the balloon up, and once we get in the sky, it's just totally awesome. I mean, I don't know how to describe it to anybody that hasn't experienced being in a balloon. It's unlike any other mode of aviation. It's so primitive. I mean, you don't have any machines. I mean, the most technical thing on the balloon is the burner, and basically you put heat in the balloon and it lifts you up. You cool the balloon off and you come back down. There's a lot more to that, but that's the general principle, and it's so quiet and serene once you lift off the ground that it is amazing.
You should be there to watch the pilots come in. It's really a class experience getting to see this, because it's really not easy to navigate an aircraft like that.
Natchez is actually one of my favorite events. And if you guys have never been to see that event, you need to make it there for the Friday morning, which is the bicycle race. They combine a bicycle race with a balloon flight. So bicyclist rides with the balloon, their bicycle rides in the chase truck. We fly, and once we get to the target, then we let the bicyclists out of the balloon. They race back to the starting line. So it's fantastic. That is the most exciting balloon event I think that I've ever done.
Starting off on Friday morning, we'll have the media flight at 7, so you'll get to see balloons on Friday. And then that evening, the gates open at 6, and we have the balloon glow, entertainment, and also a fireworks display. I believe the Walrus are the ones that are entertaining that evening on the grounds of Rosalie.
And what happens on Saturday?
On Saturday, the gates open at 11. It's all-day entertainment, and again that morning there'll be a balloon flight at 7, and then again that afternoon, and then all-day entertainment. There's booths and food booths and craft booths and all types of things going on at the festival grounds. And then on Sunday again, starts off at 7 o'clock again with a balloon race. And then again on Sunday afternoon, the festival grounds opens at noon, and all day again of entertainment.
We've got live music all 3 days. There's also a carnival for the kids, and we've got great food from all over the region. We've got people coming in from out of town to provide culinary delights as far away as New Orleans. Friday night, whenever we have our balloon glow, which is one of our more popular events, along with the fireworks, we have a cover band that's going to do Beatles music called the Walrus. Saturday, we'll have music starting at noon with Little Poochie and Hezekiah Early, a great local blues artist, the Revivalists out of New Orleans, and Johnny Sketch and the Dirty Notes, as well as the Lowrider Band, Anders Osborne, and our premiere event at 9:30, the North Mississippi All-Stars will be playing.
What do you enjoy the most about the music of the festival?
Oh, just that there's a great diversity, and just the vibe that goes on in the site with all the great music and the view of the Mississippi River.
I probably enjoy the Friday night balloon glow the most. There's something sort of magical about all the balloons lit on the site, and it's a family night with families coming with their children, and fireworks shot from a barge on the Mississippi River, a band, food vendors. It's a happy night.
I enjoy all of it. For years, I've worked with the pilots, and I enjoy the balloon aspect of it, but I also enjoy the things that go on at the festival grounds, the music, and running into people that maybe I haven't seen in years that might be here to attend the festival. And a lot of people are planning reunions around our festival, especially high school reunions and things of that nature.
If people have questions or like more information, what should they do?
There's two places they can go. They can go to NatchesBalloonRace.com, or they can go to visitnatches.org, or they can call 800-647-6724, and we'll be happy to send them information.
Just come on down to Natchez and enjoy it. It's be a good weekend, and hopefully it'll be cool this year.